Good afternoon, everybody. Good to see you back here. If you are watching live on Twitch, jump in the chat, say hello. If you are watching later on YouTube, whenever it is I get around to uploading it on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you're watching on Twitch, hit the follow button. Get me that one next follower to get over to 10 followers. Then we can bump up to the next goal, right? So if you're watching live on Twitch, go follow. If you're watching on YouTube, go to the Twitch channel and become a follower over there. Plus, you'll get notified, I think, when I go live on Twitch. So there you go. That'll be helpful for you, hopefully, in the coming days. But thanks for jumping on here on our Workday recap here on a Tuesday. Did not have the Workday recap yesterday. My two of my children were at camp and they were coming back yesterday afternoon, and the time got later and later in the day, and turns out they didn't show up till right at the Workday recap time. So go ahead and jump in the chat. Hey Ming, good to see you. So unfortunately I wasn't able to jump on yesterday, and by the time we got everybody home and everything, and then we ate supper, and then the most important thing of all yesterday happened. I realized in discussion with my 9-year-old that she had never seen the Star Wars movies. She had made it to 9 years old and had not seen any of the Star Wars. That's not 100% true. I turned on, I think it was episode 7 the other day when it was just me and her, because we were just home alone. And so that would have been the first movie that she ever watched. So she had no context other than like The Mandalorian. So she had very, very little Star Wars context. And I just realized. And so I was like, okay, sit down. So that's what we did last night. So that's why I did not jump on late. We had very important things to do in getting the 9-year-old up to speed, at least with episode 1. So I don't know. Maybe we'll do episode 2 tonight. I don't know. It depends. We might have a week and a half here of Star Wars that we need to get through with the 9-year-old. So, but happy to be back here this afternoon on the Workday recap here on the Dev Mentor Dave channel. Whether you're watching it live or whether you're watching it later on YouTube, always hit the like button if there's a like button wherever you're watching it. Subscribe or follow wherever you're watching it, and hopefully you'll be notified and be able to participate like Ming is doing, jumping in the chat here and joining the conversation. This time is for you. I always will come prepared with something to talk about, but this is for you guys. So if you have a question, if you have a topic that you would like me to discuss, leave it in the chat, leave it in the comment section if you're watching on YouTube. Just let me know what it is that you're interested in, and I will do my best to address that topic either with my vaunted knowledge or just with my opinion, depending on the circumstances there. So anyway, let's jump in. Let's see what's going on with Ming here. I heard Japan are looking for devs as their population is declining. You need a visa to work there with a CS degree or any related degree. Interesting. I don't do a lot of digging into those kinds of statistics, so that's interesting to hear. Especially in the advent of AI, you'd think that they wouldn't feel like they would need to necessarily increase that. But I guess, I mean, you do have a limited population on an island, right? So I mean, it's a decent sized island, but it does make sense over time that they would have this problem. I'm surprised that now they're having this problem with the advent of AI and how it's helping us progress along in many ways from a developer standpoint. So I don't have a degree. Do you think it's worth getting one? It kind of depends on, again, why and what degree they would require. So I would say if you're going to get a degree, get the smallest, shortest one that you can get that costs the least amount of money. Because other than fundamental knowledge, there's so much change and so much turnover in the development world, from language to language, from framework to framework, mostly in the realm of popularity. not necessarily in the realm of usability. So I would say, because I believe this fundamentally about pretty much all programmers. If you understand the basics, if you understand the fundamentals of programming in general, you can learn anything. I think most people, if you can learn the fundamentals of programming, you can probably learn any framework, any language. Are there going to be nuances from one to another? Sure, absolutely. There's going to be nuances. Some you might like, you might not like. I'm not a fan of Python because I like having semicolons in my code. I don't like having to structure my code based on tabs. I want to be able to. I like curly braces. Okay, that's just who I am, right? So I think there are going to be things that you like and don't like about stuff, but I think you have the ability to learn anything if you can learn the fundamentals of programming. And I think, for example, Ming, you've really showed that to be true, quite frankly, in your own experiences, right? So that's why I would say if you feel like you have to get a degree for some reason, whether it's something like this with Japan or just even your own area, the places that are hiring require a degree. I would get the easiest, cheapest, um, acceptable one that is available to you. Um, because at the end of the day, I don't think most degrees in this industry are going to give you that much of a leg up in knowledge and experience and confidence. Just to be quite honest with you. Ming says used to work with Uniqlo. Is it Uniqlo? And they follow everything to a T. I don't even know what that is. What is Uniqlo? Uniqlo. We'll see what Claude says. It's thinking. It's ruminating on that. Uniqlo is a Japanese casual wear clothing retailer known for its affordable, high quality basics. Interesting. Okay. Hmm. And you used to work in there and they followed everything to a T. Okay. So they're definitely, their big thing is standards, making sure you're doing all the processes exactly the way that they want you to, or that is the standard across the industry. The process to get hired, uh, standardized initial call, take home, and then review and offer. Well, so they really give live coding tests unless it's Fang. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I would be interested to know if anybody in FANG companies would be willing to admit that those code tests probably didn't really mean anything. Um, Again, I've worked with a lot of really smart people who would definitely not want to do a code test. And who have looked down on code tests and who have said that they're a waste of time, right? And I actually know some people who have worked for Google. I've actually worked with two people that that either left the company I was working with them on, or excuse me, or when they were let go, finally took the opportunity to go apply to Google. Both of them made it. Both of them incredibly smart people. Um, One of them was a math whiz, really smart guy. So, but I don't think either of them really cared necessarily for code tests either. You know, I think the people who want to focus on that are very few and far between. But I would be interested in talking to somebody from a FANG company and hearing their why behind that, right? Hearing their justification for why they think that's a valid way to evaluate talent. Maybe it's valid to them because they value you just being able to do a specific thing. Whereas in my world, in my history, in my experience, the more things that you can know and do, the more that actually benefits me in the real world. So the more things that I experience, the more things that I can offer an opinion on. Excuse me, sorry guys, long day. For example, I was just in a meeting today with a client and was able to talk through some possibilities of using AI within their application. And I could talk through that much more confidently than I would have before because I've spent time working with it. I've interacted with it. Um, and so I've always been of the opinion the more things you can experience and know, the better it is for you long term and the broader your options are. Whereas if you're somebody that really just spends a bunch of time working on algorithms, working on leak code problems, doing all these technical things, which are good, but are not necessarily very broad, I think you limit yourself in the types of jobs that you can get. Um, and so I think it's important to worry less about the degree, to worry less about the technical, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Chops, right? The ability to kind of hang your hat on your technical skills. I would rather have somebody who knows how to research, who knows how to figure things out, who knows how to problem solve, because I know that person can use the tools available to them to find the solution to the problem. Somebody else might know how to write code better, but that doesn't mean they're a better problem solver. So I think that's again why I think a lot of the ways that FANG companies especially have gone through the process of hiring probably actually hurt them in the end. I can't help but wonder if one of the reasons why they have to lay off so many people and hire so many people is because they're looking for maybe the wrong thing. And that sounds kind of silly for me to say as somebody who uh, works at a small company, who doesn't work at this massive organization, this multi-billion-dollar company. It might sound stupid for me to be saying something like that, but at the end of the day, they keep going through these cycles, right? They keep going through these cycles of hiring lots and firing lots, hiring lots and firing lots. And yes, I know there's other aspects of that when it comes to the economics of things, when it comes to shareholders and prices and things like that. I get that, but I also can't help but wonder if what you're looking for is a leak coder and then AI comes along and makes most of what the leak coder does obsolete. Well, now if you just hired somebody with just that skill set, of course they're not going to be very helpful to you. So you're going to have to let them go and hire people that have a broader skill set, that have the ability to take the tools that are available to them and put them into a real world use case and actually do something with it. So I don't know. I think there's just you can't argue with success, but you can argue with historical circular realities, if that makes sense. Like you can argue with the fact that they keep doing the same things over and over and over again. And according to who was it, Albert Einstein, who said is that's the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same things over and over and expecting a different result. I just feel like FANG companies kind of are in that rut. Like they've just decided this is how it works, and they're stuck with that, and they don't have the ability or the desire to go out from that and actually hire people who can do multiple things, who can fill multiple roles within an organization or within a uh, a part of the organization, a project. I don't know. I just feel like they rely too heavily on structure and assumptions about why they're as successful as they are, and perhaps they're missing that certain people are the ones that are actually driving their company forward, and it's probably the ones that have more diverse skill sets than the ones that are passing leak codes tests, right? So Ming says, did a leak code test for a startup once, flopped it at at the end of it and learned a lot, but I found it really pointless for the entry role there. Yeah. I mean, again, if you get looking for an entry person, why are you doing leak code? Like you should expect them to have very, very low skills. The only reason to do that is to go back to comparison, which we've talked about before, so that you compare one person's leak code scores to others. But again, that doesn't tell you leak code doesn't tell you problem solving skills. Leak code doesn't tell you the ability to talk to uh, a client and understand their issues and provide solutions for that. It's like I literally just got off a call with a client, and one of the things that he said was, I'm really glad that we ended up taking some extra time than we had originally planned. He's like, I'm really glad we went through this because we ended up getting around in the conversation to things that he hadn't thought about, that because I knew their software, because we wrote it, I knew their software, I knew what his goals were, I knew other solutions that we could bring into that. Because I had this broader knowledge, I was able to provide opportunities and ideas that fit in with what his end goal is, that actually are better solutions than the ones that he had thought of. Could I have just taken the solutions that he thought of and implemented them? Sure, absolutely. But that's not necessarily the best thing for them, either from a money standpoint or from a time standpoint or from a reusability standpoint, the ability to make something so that you can use it more and add more to it easier in the future. So all these different things, because I know him, I know his product, I know what his goals are, but I also have all these other experiences around me that I've experienced, that I've learned from, that I've grown. That's not just leak code, right? It's not just I know how to program X. It's I understand a whole world of things, and I can bring that knowledge to bear on the situation for him and actually provide a better service for that client. So even if that client is just your boss at a job, at a development firm, the ability to do that, it is an exponentially beneficial ability, and it's more than just being able to do code. It's the ability to create solutions, and I think that's really the key, right? Our job is not just to write code, and I think the advent of AI is bringing that more and more into the clarity of our minds. Is that our job is not just writing code. Our job is to create solutions to problems. So that means we have to understand the problem. We have to understand the options that are available to us, and we need to use the right options in the right way at the right time to provide the right solution. And I think it's important that we think in those terms, that we are solutions providers. There's that title of a solutions architect, right? Well, yes, that is a role that could be part of some companies, but at the end of the day, really, developers are solutions architects. They should be people who are finding a solution for a specific problem. This is one of the conversations I had with somebody earlier today as well, around why our company only hires senior level developers, because we rely on our developers to be problem solvers, to be solutions creators. And even some of the tickets, when I'm writing a ticket for somebody that I work with, most of the time it's going to be a fairly high level ticket, because I expect them to either understand or to ask questions to understand. And I expect them to do research to be able to figure out what's the best way to do this, and use all the tools that they're at their that are available to them to be able to figure out the problem, to understand the solution, to provide the solution, and implement the solution. And that's really what we are. Every developer really is a solution, not just architect, but a solutions implementer, if that's a word. Implementer, is that a word? I don't know. Let's ask Claude. Is implementer PR a word? We'll find out here in a second. Claude's being slow today. Yes, implementer. Yay! All right. You'd think I know these things, but I don't. I just project confidence. That's all. The founder and co-founder were just PhD students. That's interesting. You need to practice more leak code. Yeah, probably not. Honestly, at the end of the day, probably not. PhD students. Were they at least PhD students in something technical? That would be interesting to see and to find out. if they were actually like technical people underneath all of that PhD-ness. Uh, Interesting. Well, that is definitely not the topic that I was originally going to go down today, but we can always save my topics for the future. But I think that brings up a good point, and something that we should consider about ourselves. Even when you're interviewing, right? When you're interviewing, I would encourage you to interview as an implementer of solutions. Like that, to me, that's what a developer is, and that's what we need to sell ourselves as, whether we're selling ourselves to a company to work for them, or whether we're selling ourselves to a client to be able to provide freelance services or something like that. Um, so being able to make it clear that you don't just write code, but you understand how to solve problems, and you understand how to use code to solve the problems, that you are an implementer of solutions. You could say that you're a solution wizard, right? So you're a solution wizard. You create the solutions, you're the architect of solutions, and you're the implementer of solutions. So maybe you're not, depending on where you're at in your journey as a junior developer, maybe you're not necessarily the architect of the solution. But as you get better, as you grow in your skill set, as you move from junior to mid to senior level developer, you should be growing in that path of being the architect of the solution, understanding not just the code that you're writing, but understanding how that fits in the broader scheme of the application, how it fits to fix a specific problem. One of the things that we try to do with our projects when we're kicking off a project internally is we try to make sure that all the team members, whether it's just one or two people or whether it's 5 or 8 people, depending on the size of the project, right? But we want to make sure all the team members understand what it is that we're doing from a high level, because I may have an idea of a solution and how we're going to solve a specific problem for this project, but somebody else may have had an experience and interacted with maybe a different package or a different um, uh, way of going about fixing the problem, and their way may be better. But if they don't understand how this ticket that they're working on fits in with the broader scope of the application, with the timeline, with the process that we're trying to fix or that we're trying to create, if they don't have the opportunity to dive into those details and understand, even at a high level, how that fits in, they can't offer necessarily a better solution if they don't know what we're trying to do. So one of the things that we try to do with our projects is make sure whoever's working on the project is provided enough information so that they can help us provide a better solution. I know it's very shocking, but I don't have all the answers. I don't know everything about every project, and not every client comes with a book of information to help you build out your application. Um, some of them do, and it's very helpful when they do that. But it's very rare when a client comes to you with a lot of information, just boom, right there to help you understand either their business process or their business as a whole or their industry or whatever it is, right? So we've got to be people who are willing to learn things, people who are willing to learn things outside of the code that are more industry level things. And we've got to be able to take that knowledge and create a solution for them from that knowledge. So I would say, again, no matter what type of interaction you have, that should be the way that you position yourself, that you are a an architect and an implementer of solutions. You understand the problems and you find the best solution out there. And that best solution could be something that saves them time, could be something that saves them money in the long run. It could be something that just sets them up to be more useful in the future. So setting them up with a proper structure so that they can add more things easily to the application in the future, knowing that they're going to have to grow over time. Um, those are the things that come with experience, that come with time, that come with building things over time. but that should be what your arc looks like, right? Your arc should basically really not be an arc. It should just be a constant growth, really, of knowledge and experience that gives you the confidence then to say, I can help you find the right solution. I can be your solution implementer. So that'll be. I'll have to figure out a good title for this video for solution implementer. I don't know. I'll think of something. We'll figure it out. If you have any ideas, throw it in the chat, man. I can't remember all they knew about. Oh, it was about blockchain. Interesting. You know what's really interesting is I haven't heard a whole lot about blockchain lately. It was really big a few years ago. Like that was going to be the next big thing in development, and it's kind of died off. I mean, obviously there's some big players still in that world, but it's really interesting that from like at least in my experience and the things that I've interacted with, again, you can kind of get yourself in an echo chamber if you're not careful. But I haven't heard a whole lot recently around blockchain development and things like that. Who knows, it might come back around. I don't know, but I just find it interesting that I haven't really seen that playing out quite the way we thought it would just a couple years ago. So that's interesting. All they knew about was blockchain and how leak code works with it. That's interesting. Well, PhDs are usually smart people, unless they're just lowering the bar to getting a PhD these days. I don't know. Interesting. Well, yeah, keep me updated, Ming, on your process there. And if you're watching this on YouTube, if you got any thoughts here on what we should be as developers and my implementation solution implementer, I'm going to figure out one of these days, solution implementer role, or if you have something else that you think is better, throw it in a comment. Remember, comments are always good because they help the algorithm know that people are interested in this information in this video. So hit the like button. That always helps too. But if you have any thoughts or want to tell me that I'm an idiot, put that in the comments as well. There's somebody I follow on YouTube, and I love what he says. He says, if you like this video, hit the like button. If you don't like this video, hit the thumbs down button twice. So I love that. It's a great statement because it's just beautiful. But anyway, hopefully this has been at least interesting for 30 minutes here. Leak code dummies. Hopefully this has been interesting, informative, or antagonistic, and you can fight me on YouTube. I'll be happy to respond. I do read all the comments on YouTube. I try to respond either on YouTube or on a live stream like this, which then gets uploaded again eventually. But again, if you're watching on YouTube, go over to Twitch. If you're not on Twitch, create an account. Go to the Dev Mentor Dave link, become a follower over here on Twitch so we can get those numbers up and just make me feel like I'm special. So I'm just kidding. More than likely, you haven't even watched to this point anyways, based on the statistics on YouTube. So anyway, hopefully this, I call it leak code monkeys. Yeah, there you go. Hopefully this has been at least entertaining, if not helpful and informative somewhere along the way. And thank you for taking the time to either jump on the live stream with me like Ming has and just be quiet, or watch this video later on. I truly appreciate it. Hopefully it's informative to you. If you have something that you would like to hear me talk about, leave a comment on this video or another video on the YouTube channel, or jump on the live stream and at Dev Mentor Dave, tell me what it is and we'll address it in that Workday recap, or we might address it on our Saturday live stream at 10 a.m. Central United States time. Workday recap here every Monday through Friday, most of the time, 4 p.m. Central United States time. And as you see, the goal is to interact with you. So jump in the chat, say hello, let me know what I can do to help you, whether that's to give you some encouragement or just give you my opinion about things. I'm happy to do both. So thanks for spending time with me today. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow on the Workday recap, and have a great day.